Hello and welcome back to the WGL APAC Season 2 and welcome to the final game of Day 2 of Week 2. It's going to be a pretty good one here, I think. Caren Tiger and Meltdown coming up after that very strong win from Horseman. I think this one's going to be just a little bit closer than our previous series today.
Yeah, we've saved the best for last, Elfish Guy. It's like going to a restaurant and knowing that they are the best at desserts and just getting an ice.
It's always a pleasure casting with you, Alex. It's always a pleasure.
I'm sure it is, but we have got a good dessert in store for everyone on stream.
Okay.
That is Meltdown and Caren Tiger, I think.
Yeah.
It really should be the icing on the cake of what has been a cake of WGL APAC action.
Where is this going?
I'm not sure. Look, I've just had a break. I'm feeling so happy.
Yeah, you're
so rejuvenated.
I don't know what
I've had a coffee.
Ate.
It might have been the Nespresso, but I'm really excited. I might have put a few too many chocolate sprinkles on it.
Maybe.
Who knows? Anyways.
Just got a little bit hypo at the moment, aren't you? You're kind of channeling your inner gold bass at the moment. But look,
I like that.
When we have a look at this one between Caren Tiger and Meltdown, I did say I think it's going to be a little bit closer here. It is a hard match to call because we've seen Caren Tiger. They came out of the gates looking pretty good, but they had a bit of a poor game against Horseman at one point. Meltdown similarly have also come out pretty well, but then they went down 5-0 to EL, which is fair enough, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Meltdown against EL Gaming there. So I still don't think we've seen either of these two teams at full strength just yet.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think Caren Tiger, look, they're nearing kind of full strength in my opinion. They've been looking relatively strong to start off this season with their new roster. Obviously, some of the wins that they got in week 1 set them in a pretty good position, but so far they haven't really had a kind of big test like Meltdown, where if we take a look at their last season results, it was kind of half and half between the two phases.
Meltdown went 5-4 in the first phase and won that one, and then Caren Tiger bounced back in phase 2 and won that one 5-1. So it was, like you said, a bit up in the air as to how things are going to go. And I got to say, like last season, I would have felt and said probably that Meltdown were the stronger lineup. But now we've had a few team changes between these two. We'll have a look at the rosters coming up in a second for these two teams, and it just feels to me like when we've kind of come into this season, these roster changes, it does make it hard to say which of these two teams are going to look a lot stronger.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think the roster changes, they haven't been easy to predict because, we thought coming into this that, some of Meltdown's changes here, some of their changes might have negatively affect them a little bit. They did lose quite a bit of their kind of old roster from Season 1.
Yeah.
But at the moment, sitting on 4th position on the ladder, decent win rates, not doing too badly.
Yeah, not too badly at all, and especially considering they had to face EL Gaming last week. They did have a pretty decent start to it. 2-1 was their, I guess, their sort of score, the results from last week. Moving over to their opponents, they also had a 2-1 last week. It was Caren Tiger, of course, had maybe a little bit of a better time over it, 60% on the attack, 64 on the defense, and this was a roster where we thought they were going to be really affected by losing Shinozakit, but they brought in a couple of players, and to be honest, at the moment, I think Shinozakit's probably ruining the fact that he's left this Caren Tiger lineup, because they're certainly performing a lot better than B Gaming at the moment.
Exactly. Caren Tiger, look, the changes that they made, they're another team where we thought, okay, losing Shinozakit, having a few more shifts with their players would have negatively affected them, but no, they're sitting on 3rd in the ladder. They're looking really strong. 60% attack win, 64% defense win rate so far this season, and if I was Meltdown, I wouldn't be too happy that I was going up against Caren Tiger right now because they're looking really good. And
well, you say that, but it's a good chance here for Meltdown to really put themselves above Caren Tiger. They get a win, Caren Tiger gets a loss. That's a real boost for Meltdown and a real deficit for Caren Tiger, but vice versa as well. If Meltdown lose this one, then Caren Tiger are really going to be starting to set themselves up in that top 4 position quite safely. But, we're going to have to see how these two teams match up. Caren Tiger, for me, this season have looked looked a little bit more aggressive, decisive, confident, I suppose, would be all different kind of words that I would use to describe how they've changed their playstyle a little bit. Last season, they did sit back a little bit more, play a little bit safer.
Yep.
But this time, it seems like they're really taking the fight to their opponents a bit more.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I like about the new Caren Tiger. They are decisive. You know, it's almost like they've, you know, looked a little bit at EL Gaming or taken some of EL Gaming strategies from last season, where, you know, they now know when to pull the trigger in some maps, whereas last season it was very much kind of murky when they actually wanted to go in, and it was never all, you know, one mind, one decision sort of thing. So I really like that from Caren Tiger's new lineup. Hopefully they'll be able to show us it some more and here against Meltdown, because I've actually chosen Caren Tiger to take this one out.
Yeah, you've chosen the Caren tiebreaker.
I've chosen the Caren tiebreaker.
I have to give credit to Max for that one. That was one that he came up with, and I can't believe we didn't think of it all of Season 1.
We're pretty stupid.
We are. Well, you are. I'm not. But Caren tiebreaker, that's, I think, what we're going to call it from now on. And he's also predicted the Caren tiebreaker. I've actually gone 5-3 in the favor of Meltdown. Right. Having a look at the maps here is maybe going to give us a bit of a better indication as to what we'll see coming out tonight. Ruinberg, the first one, that was picked by Caren Tiger. Muravanka and then Himmelsdorf were chosen by Meltdown. And final map, of course, remaining in the pool was mine's tiebreaker being Cliff for today. But I think Ruinberg starting things off, that's probably a 1-1 for me. Muravanka, again, that's a hard one to call, but I'd probably go 1-1. And then I think Himmelsdorf might be where we start to see Meltdown pull ahead, because they've been impressing me quite a lot on Himmelsdorf so far this season.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong there. That Meltdown have looked pretty decent on Himmelsdorf. I think it's definitely going to be one that Caren Tiger have to, you know, be on their ball for, be on their A game, so to speak. But look, I think Ruinberg and Muravanka, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would agree with you in saying that, yeah, Muravanka would be a great one for Meltdown coming into this one, or a pretty decent one. But then this season's Meltdown does seem to be just a little bit of a step backwards, even if a little baby step backwards from season 1 Meltdown. So I think Caren Tiger here, you know, that is the map where it's all about those kind of, you know, gunshot choices. We have to be really decisive when you want to, you know, go in from that cap, go in from that one cap, or, you know, push around the hill. So I actually think that one could be a 2-0 to Caren Tiger. But
interesting.
You know, equally, we could just have 1-1-1-1-1-1-1 all the way up to the end as well.
Yeah, potentially. It's very likely that that could be the case. I think, yeah, Muravanka is going to be a hard one to call, because we haven't seen these two teams playing on it so far this season. So, you know, we haven't got anything really to go off. Meltdown did play a fair bit of Muravanka last season, if I do remember. But again, a very different roster, so can't draw too much into that one. Caren Tiger did tend to shy away from it, as did most teams in the region. So I'm surprised to see Muravanka getting picked so much so far this season in Season 2. Maybe teams are just trying to experiment with things early on here. And I can't say I think it's really worked out that well for anyone just yet.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any big kind of wins from teams, like big 2-0 wins from teams that have been like picking Muravanka here in the new season. And it is great to see it in, because now we have a broader map pool, and it's interesting because some of the maps that we used to see last season picked quite a bit more, you know, we're seeing really drop off. Like, we haven't seen too much Ghost Town so far this season, particularly in week 1. Prokhorovka hasn't really been quite as big either. But yeah, it's good to have a bit more of a broader map pool.
Yeah, like we spoke about last week, I would like to have seen maybe a shuffle in the map pool, or even an addition to the map pool, just to change things up. There's a few maps which would have been interesting to see here in WGL, but we are running the exact same map pool as we did last season, so these teams are going to be very well versed in the maps that they're going to be fighting out on. So that's good, I guess, in a sense. It should be giving us some more competitive games, but a little bit of variety is always the spice of life, Alex.
Absolutely, and I think here on these, obviously, same sort of maps that these guys have been battling on for a while now, we are still seeing some variety. Like you said, we're seeing new strategies coming out, particularly now that these teams have had, you know, a bit of an off season, time to practice, time to think about new rosters, time to, you know, practice these new tanks that have been added into the game in the Swedish Tank Destroyer and Swedish Heavy lines. So it definitely still keeps things nice and fresh, which is what we like to see. Yeah,
and that's, I guess, exactly what we want to see. I want to see maybe Meltdown here or Caren Tiger picking up an S-Tank, something like that.
Yeah.
There are a couple of maps in the pool, like Muravanka, maybe? I don't know. I think you might need a little bit. It doesn't... you know, I think you might need a little bit more flexibility out of a tank that you're picking on Moravanka if you're going for a tank destroyer. I don't know if the STRV necessarily is going to offer enough on that one. I'd say probably go for a grill. Himmelsdorf mines, maybe on mines we might see an S tank as well, but definitely for me the pick of the bunch really from the two new tanks obviously is the heavy line. I think the Kranwagen, the Emils have been probably a little bit more successful, or at least more of an issue than the S tanks, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with you there. I think the Kranwagen is all in all a more kind of general purpose tank, I guess, than the S tank. The S tank, you know, it does have that extra high mobility, but as a tank destroyer, it's not as much of a one-shot wonder as something like the Grill is, or the FE4005s that we see on Himmelsdorf, you know. And obviously, the S tank doesn't quite have the armor of the T95 that we saw TCZ pick up.
It can be a little bit trolly at times if you're aiming in the wrong part of the tank. You know, bounce off the top of the turret. Oh, not turret. I say turret. Bounce off the top of the hull of the tank. Really. Yeah,
exactly. Of course, the S tank not having a turret. Back when the Swedes designed it, they decided they had to look a little bit of a kind of feel around of the current turret systems, and most of their tanking crews actually felt that, well, the turret didn't have too much of a point, because in order to get the gun accurate enough, you needed to stop moving anyways. And so they thought, well, if we need to stop moving anyways, and the turret is what caused most World War II tank destructions, then let's get rid of the turret and let's just have a nice little stationary tank with some kind of pimp and suspension.
Pimp and suspension, indeed. It's a bit of an interesting tank. You know, I actually haven't really had much of a chance to play around with it. It doesn't really, I suppose, it's not my play style, you know. I like to play light tanks, I like to play medium tanks. I'm not a tank destroyer person.
It's interesting because I'm a tank destroyer person. I've had a couple of games of it, but it really hasn't kind of grabbed me, just because, like, while it's mobile, it's not actually, like, it doesn't actually get set up that fast, because you actually have to, you know, go into mobility mode, you know, cross to wherever you want to go into siege mode, then often have like a kind of awkward, you know, like tog speed, get into the perfect position. And even then, as soon as you get spotted out, you've got to be very, very careful. You know, if an arty sees you, then, well, like, rip. So it's fast, but it's not really... it can't really use that mobility quite as well in sort of random battles, I guess. Yeah,
the Kranwagen, though, definitely has been a tank that I've enjoyed. You know, I'm a big fan of having good gun depression. The most annoying thing for me in World of Tanks, apart from Arty, is when I peek over a ridge and I just can't hit the guy because my gun depression is not good enough. And, well, that's very rarely an issue in the Kranwagen.
Into it, yep, absolutely. And... yeah, I like the Kranwagen as well. I've had a bit of a go at it. Had a go at the Oods as well.
Yeah. You try the boost? Try any boosts?
I think I tried a boost. I think I got one on steps as well. No, it wasn't the first try. It's never the first try.
Yeah, never.
I almost flipped it once. That was fun.
That must have been very fun. I know you're a big fan of flipping tanks.
I love flipping tanks. I flip them like my pancakes every morning.
You don't have pancakes every morning.
Oh, there you go. You're a smart man, Elfish guy. But look, I think, speaking of flipping pancakes, I was actually just about to say the bat chat looks...
It does look like a pancake.
It does.
Especially like when you're watching some of the pro players and they have that weird, like, resolution.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The really stretched.
The stretch one.
And it's just like the flattest pancake bat chat you've ever seen.
Yeah, it makes it very hard to hit, of course. But some of the tanks, which I'm sure we'll be seeing, let's think about that. So here on Ruinberg, first up, do you think we'll be seeing anyone go with a predominantly Batchat, predominantly medium lineup?
Yeah, there could be good potential. I think both these teams quite Batchat focused. I mean, we know Vicestone plays on Meltdown, one of the strongest Batchat players in the APAC region, or at least he was last season. Hasn't been impressing us so much this season. Caren Tiger as well, they do like to pick the Batchats quite a lot, so wouldn't be surprised to see at least 2 or 3 Batchats in each of these rosters.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Okay, well, I would agree with you in that one, I think. So, anyways, I think it is just about time for us to stop waffling on about pancakes and start focusing on something that's not a breakfast food. Of course, that is Ruinberg.
Yes.
Jordan, as we head into this very asymmetrical map, of course, attack and defense play completely opposite each other. Yep. And we might be seeing some town pushes, might be seeing some city pushes from the attackers. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe some tank destroyers coming out here as well on the defensive side. The Grill 15 would be nice to see, but let's have a look.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. We have got 2 Mausers on the Caren Tiger attacking side and a T110E3 and a WZ132.
That is not really something I expected to see. Oh, well, I did say 2 or 3 bat chats on either side, so
yeah,
I got that right, at least for Caren Tiger. But the T110E3 and a couple of Mausers, not so expected from Caren Tiger.
Yeah, definitely not. And obviously those Mausers, you know, they're the ones which are going to be getting up towards the town and on towards that cap. That's pretty much a default strategy now with those ones that B Gaming were the first to bring into APAC last season. It's a strategy that originated over in Russia, I believe. But let's see where they head out to.
Well, immediately, I'm a little bit surprised to see them exploring the southern part of the map here, Caren Tiger, because I thought with that kind of a lineup, you get the 2 Mausers on the 1 flag, maybe. You have Yupa firing down that sort of second alleyway.
Yeah. They could be going down the F line, the Mausers, and pushing onto the 2 flag.
Needs to be really careful with where he's going. I'm not so sure what he's doing here. He's taking a shot to the ammo rack, and he's going to have to use a repair kit for that. So a little bit of a worry there for Meltdown early on in the piece, but he does get safely into a defensive position.
Not a bad start overall for Caren Tiger, and in fact they've just extended that to an even better start by Pink Pig taking a little bit more damage.
Yeah, he really can't afford to peek here anymore. He's probably taken a few too many liberties and has definitely been punished for it by Caren Tiger.
Great start for Pink Pig, that's for sure. But right now, Yupa there in that T110E3. Yeah, maybe looking to get another shot, of course, that T110E3. Oh, that's interesting. He's gone, in terms of his equipment, he's gone with the wet ammo rack, which I personally think is pointless. But I'm sort of more basing that off the T95. I prefer to have like a toolkit there or increased, better suspension, just so it's harder to track. Because obviously a T110E3 that's tracked doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but I guess a T110E3 with a broken ammo rack doesn't do much either.
True, it's true.
Or an exploded ammo rack.
Then again, you could do just double repair kit. Anyways, who knows? But right now, we do have most of Caren Tiger just sitting towards the city on around that F area. I don't think Meltdown are in any hurry to push down. Don't think they feel the need to scout down that 0 line. They've got 1 light tank down there. That's going to be Polly, I think, in that WZ132. And
well, Caren Tiger don't seem to be in much of a hurry either. I would have been a little bit surprised if they were, given that they have 2 Mausers and a T110E3. So
it's true.
Can't expect anything too blitzy and flashy from them. Playing quite slowly here on the attacking side, so you know, hoping to get some early advantage, and they have done that. They've got the early advantage there onto Pink Pig, so it's a good start for Caren Tiger. And I think, you know, we'll have to see something good coming out here from Vicetone, obviously, on Meltdown. He is the guy that we always talk about in the bat chat. Hasn't been having such an impressive season so far, though. 1,300 damage average, or roughly about that per map. It's really not where you want to be, I think, in your bat chat, especially when we're seeing some of the other players sitting up towards 2,000 average damage. And I think, you know, for a player that we always talk about, for a player that showed his kind of caliber of skill last season, we would be expecting more from him.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a pretty fair assumption. Right now, still no movement. We do see even fall there in the AMX 1390, which interesting actually, the AMX 1390. This season it's started off with quite a low win rate after 11 or so games, 45%. So
yeah.
Not a great start, whereas the WZ132, the Chinese Tier 8 light, that we see over on Caren Tiger's side, is actually sitting around the 66% win rate mark.
Yeah, not so many games played from the WZ though, but it does feel to me like the 1390 has fallen out of favour to an extent for the IU251. I just don't think we see the 1390 as much as we did, especially early on in Season 1. I just think the meta has changed a little bit with teams favouring the IU251 for that better gun. You know, maybe a little bit of extra mobility as well for the IU251, one could say. Yeah,
and look, the other thing is we see a lot less like Scout 1v1s, and in a Scout 1v1, the AMX 1390 is always going to win because obviously it just unloads its clip.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we see less of those, then it's just, yeah, dropped out of favour. Interesting to see Caren Tiger, they kind of curved up, but they're curving back a little bit. I'm not too sure if it was a bit of a fakie from CT. They're heading back there now. And one of the other reasons that we see the WZ132 a little bit more is it does have amazing mobility for a light tank. And it's often one of its best features, of course. Not the most amazing gun, but mobility more than makes up for it.
Now, well, 5 minutes gone by now. Caren Tiger haven't really shown us much just yet with this lineup that they've gotten. Yeah, Pink Pig is going to start to be in a bit of trouble here. Cry also taking some damage in the FV215B, so this has not been the ideal start for Meltdown, and well, Pink Pig's just not going to be able to do anything here. He's going to try and angle his armor to bounce a few shells from those two big heavy tanks, but he's not going to get that much done, and Uber in the T123 will close out the kill. Does take a shot for his troubles, but really, Caren Tiger have such a big health pool that they're not too bothered by taking all of this damage.
Yeah, no, and look at this. These Mausers are angling really, really well. Missing a few shots, but also ricocheting a lot of them. And I think even those FV215Bs up the top are struggling to go through, which is a big issue there for Meltdown because, I mean, Caren Tiger right now, they're just not taking damage.
Yeah, and they've only got a single AMX-50B on the side of Meltdown, so they don't even really have that much clip potential on that side of the field. I guess there's a Batchat and an AMX-50B, and that's really it, but no real pick potential for Meltdown. They need to be getting that war of attrition, really, and, well, you're not going to get a war of attrition that's going to work too nicely against a double mouse strat and a T110E3. Vicetone, though, has managed to find Polly, and that's going to be an easy kill for him, but it does use up a few of his shells. He needs to get involved in this fight because on the other side of the map, Meltdown are really starting to take a little bit of damage here and not quite trading back too well.
Yeah, interesting that these Mausers are actually pushing right up past the two flag onto the hill. Normally we do see them get into it, but look at this. In the meantime, Caren Tiger, they don't have 3 tanks in their fight. AccuOV and 2 more are flanking up towards a 1 flag.
Yeah, this is really strange from Caren Tiger. They're sort of taking a 3 versus 4 really in the favor of Meltdown against them, but Maro does trade one back. Yupa also finding another one there onto Evenfall, and all of a sudden now Caren Tiger have a massive, massive tank advantage. The HP, not so much in their favor, but it's still not bad enough that they're going to be too bothered by things just yet. And now Vicetone,
down.
He's on the reload. I don't know, he might get one shot out here before he goes down to AccuOV if he gets lucky.
Oh.
That's a pretty poor roll from the T110E3.
Not great, but AccuOV is going to be able to finish him off quite easily, and just like that, with a snap of the fingers, Meltdown are down to 3
Rush
tanks.
is on the reload here as well. If he might have been able to get another couple of shots off, and there's something in it for Meltdown. They should probably take down both of these German heavy tanks. At least Cry and Pathfinder should be able to do that. It's Pathfinder to find one. Nadeko, he's on 514, so it's going to be a massive roll from either of those 215Bs if they do take him down.
Yeah.
I'm still just not so sold on this yet from Caren Tiger because it is still relatively close. Now Rush off the reload. He will take down the mouse. He's got 3 shots left. Yupa's under a bit of pressure now as well, and if Yupa goes down, it could be.
Oh,
it's a 3 versus 3 now. 4 seconds left on the cap, though I don't think they can get the reset in this time. No. There's just no one peeking around the corner, so in the end, actually, Caren Tiger do get a pretty easy win. Meltdown took a little bit too long to clean up those German heavy tanks, and Caren Tiger start off with a win.
Well, I really like that from Caren Tiger there to push right up to the city, and I was a little bit kind of iffy about those Mausers taking so many shots going up into the city, but once they were there, just so hard to really take down, essentially, and that's what they picked the Mausers for, Caren Tiger. And I feel as though once that little town area above the 2 flag gets breached, and once you've got, you know, the attacking team getting the tanks in there and kind of rustling up the AMX-50Bs, the FV215Bs that are in there, you're always going to win a brawl with Mausers and you know, a T110E3 in that scenario. So.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit strange, really, from Caren Tiger, the strategy, but it worked out, so you can't really knock them for that. I think they've used the mouse a couple of times before on Runeberg that we saw last week. I'm trying to remember, but really, I guess it works, and you can't complain too much for Caren Tiger there. So Meltdown are going to need to bounce back here. They didn't really look in it at all. I mean, there was some moments where maybe you would have thought, okay, they have potential to bring this one back, but it always felt relatively secure, actually, in the end for Caren Tiger.
Yeah, absolutely, I think. And Caren Tiger, they're going to be happy with that, like we said. But, of course, not the most clear-cut win. If we had seen Meltdown get one more reset, then who knows what would have happened in that one. It could have been a lot closer with the 3v3 at the end. But I really feel as though Meltdown's tank picks there maybe were a little bit of a detractor.
Well, let's have a look at the replays here and see what went wrong for Meltdown in that one. Immediately off the bat, Pink Pig was out of position from the start. If he had have just played, you know, in sort of E6, danced around that corner as opposed to all the way in, he would have had a much easier escape route. And the position that he was caught in, there was no way he was going to get out of there. So it was basically a free kill for Caren Tiger, really.
Yeah. And oh, look at that Yupa in the T110E3 with 4.3 thousand damage. That is a crazy amount of damage. To have 12 shots in the T110E3 as well. I mean, brilliant play there by Mr. Yupa. Marrow in the mouse. It's not often that we see that super heavy tank getting over 3,000 damage either.
Yeah.
And you know, look, I'm still not a massive fan of the FV215Bs in a scenario like this, but obviously Caren Pathfinder making them work with over 2,000 damage.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen maybe another 50B or 113 in that Meltdown lineup. Not so sure about a Kranwagen. I don't think there's really that many positions you'd want to put it in on Ruinberg defense. But regardless, it just felt like there wasn't enough damage there for Meltdown.
Yeah, I agree. They like the Mouses sometimes when they don't work is when like as soon as they come out of the streets there or from the bottom, if they just get clipped down by like 3 AMX 50Bs and a bat chat or something like that. But obviously that wasn't the case there. Meltdown were not able to do that, and so as soon as the Mouses get where they want to be, get where they want to just sit down, then it's very hard to take them off.
Yeah, I think so. And it really worked out quite well for Caren Tiger. You know, you saw a lot of shots going in to those Mouses from Meltdown, but at the end of the day, they've just shrugged it off, really, almost, with that massive HP pool that they have. And, you know, the FV215Bs, like you said, I just don't think they offered enough in that situation. Another AMX 50B or two, really, in that time that it took the two Mouses to get up to the town, if there was another AMX 50B or another 2 AMX 50Bs, at least one of those Mouses would have probably gone down.
Yeah, I think I would agree as well that not being able to take down the Mouses that were so low as well was a big issue for Meltdown, because when they took, I think it was the top 4 tanks on Caren Tiger down so low, weren't able to close it off. They left the guns on the field, and like we say time and time again, Jordan, you know, you cannot leave the guns on the field. It doesn't matter if you deal 1,800, 1,900, you know, 2.5 thousand damage to a mouse. As long as it's still got its gun, it will still shoot you.
Yeah, and I mean, now that Caren Tiger have picked up that win on the attack, it makes their life so much easier here on Ruinberg. You know, the defensive side, typically what we expect to see more wins coming out of, and Meltdown just didn't really get what they needed to there on the defensive side. So they're really struggling now. This could be a 2-0 in the favor of Caren Tiger to start things off.
Well, I mean, I guess it could be. That's solid logic for it. And Caren Tiger, with the way that they've been playing, why not, I guess. It's definitely within the realms of possibility. But guys, you should let us know what you think in the Twitch chat below, or of course on the Twitters, on the social medias with the hashtag WGLAPAC. Tweet at us at there we go, at WGLAPAC down there. But it's always good to see what people get in with the...
that might be one of the fails of the week, Alex. You're trying to point at that. But let's not dwell on that for too long. We'll head into the tank lineups. And into the second round of Ruinberg.
Oh, we've got it at CDC.
A double grill as well from Meltdown.
Double grill.
That's interesting stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So I think we all know exactly what's going to happen here for Meltdown. They're going to get that CDC onto that one flag, onto the city flag, like what we saw them do against B Gaming. They're going to have the grills plonked down at the end of both of those alleyways, and they're going to just try and hold things off with the TVPs and the bat chats. And everyone's going to just pump shells into the IS-7's turret, and it's not going to work too well for Caren Tiger. But I think if Caren Tiger can gain control of the city, then maybe they can start to put some pressure on those Grill 15s. That's when things start to maybe come undone here for Meltdown. And look, Polly's got himself in a great position straight off the bat. He's done exactly what he needed to do. And this is really going to almost undo the strategy that Meltdown have got. Accio V very far forward as well in that T10. They could even kill the AMX CDC before it can get into a reasonable position, and that's going to just make life so difficult for Meltdown. I think Caren Tiger have really read this one well. And there's no way that the IS-7 is going to be able to sit it in the same spot that he did against B Gaming, because Polly is just going to get free shots into the side of him.
No chance at all. Look, this is perfect bit of play there from the defenders, from Caren Tiger, and yep, we are going to be seeing the rotate from Meltdown. And really, the double grill, like, I'm not too sure what Meltdown are hoping
this
to
is a little bit strange. Meltdown are now really in a difficult position. At least they read the situation well and didn't try and proceed with their strategy regardless. Good shot, though, coming out from one of those grills. Nadeko taking 772, so it's a good start for Meltdown at least. I really want to see how they're going to go about using these tanks now that they've kind of locked themselves into a bit of a corner, really, because a double grill on attack and an AMX CDC is really not the ideal situation. They will need to find a way to make this work.
Yes, the AMX CDC particularly, because it's not often that you want that French medium tank to kind of do anything. It's probably not going to do anything apart from just be a shield.
Yeah, it only does like 250 alpha, something like that. Not a huge amount of alpha that comes out of that tank, so it's not a great pick. I mean, it works all right in pubs and that kind of thing, but here in WGL, I just don't see it working at all. It's a big sort of really lightly armored tank. It's going to be super easy to pen by any of these guys on Caren Tiger.
Certainly, but it looks like right now Meltdown are potentially trying to do the exact same thing again, and the only chance they'll have for this to work is if they can catch out Polly while he's I think he might be peeking a little bit further up right now, and Marrow there in that IS-4 has now been spotted, but equally he spotted out half of Meltdown again. So instantly Caren Tiger start the rotate back down towards the one flag, and they're just reacting really well.
Here comes Meltdown though. They're going to send their forces forward. They need to remove Polly from this position, but look at how much damage Evenfall is taking early on in the piece. Yeah, I guess his job is to die, but I'm not sure he's died in a very good position there for Meltdown. I can't even see his corpse. It's down to Rush and Pathfinder here to deal with Polly, and then Meltdown are going to try and have to clean the scraps up from this one. It looks like Rush is going to be able to do that quite easily on his own, being in a tier 10 bat chat against a tier 9 bat chat, but the IS-7 of Pathfinder is so far forward in the middle of nowhere on the cap.
He's forgotten that he doesn't have the AMX CDC in front of him, so he's literally just died.
I'm not so sure about this Meltdown strategy. I think, you know, it might be time to shelve that one. I mean, you caught B Gaming off guard, but now that the guys that are coming up against you are going to be aware of that. I have no idea what Pathfinder was doing just then, by the way. He just derped straight in towards the flag and just sat there. Like, at least he could have tried to hide behind a building or something. Yeah,
it's really not great from Meltdown right now. Look, they've got 2 grills, Jordan, but I think they're having sashimi tonight, I would say.
They're not having a good time here.
Oh, it's very rough. Caren Tiger, though, look, they are looking good. They've got all 6 tier, well, not tier 10, but almost tier 10 tanks up. Caren Tiger, they just don't look like they're going to let Meltdown have any space. No. They've got the 2 flag cover. They've got 4 tanks around the 2 flag. They've got a couple of tanks around the middle, around that F line. The 1 flag's completely covered. Where do Meltdown go?
I honestly have no idea, but I hope they do, because we're going to go jump inside the minds of Meltdown and see how they try to unravel this situation that they found themselves in.
Well, it's looking like Meltdown pretty quiet so far.
그냥 위에 네가 계속 봐라. 자쪽이랑 같이. 중앙이랑 유랑 상대 지금 다 중전차라서 우리 알아서 해. 위쪽은 내 밑에 봐줄게.
나 들어간다.
꿀장님이 여기 봐주시고 그릴레 여기까지 가고.
113
끝까지 5분비
나 걸렸고.
여기
나 여기 멈출게요 일단.
멈춰서 천천히 하고. 여기 501은 이런데 쏠 수 있으면 계속 좀 넓혀봐라. 501. 501 이게 들어가서 잡을 준비해봐.
나이스. 나 스팟 2로비
대양전.
나 A형.
들어가서 잡을 준비해봐.
나 A형 안 걸리면서 들어왔고.
정전.
또 위에 있다.
2로비 프리들이다.
용진아 너 안 걸렸지?
근데
가서 잡으라고. 그거 가서 잡으라고.
4분 남았어.
가서 잡으라고. 훈련 지금 여기 앞에 붙어줘요. 이거 맞춰가지고 50을 맞춰가지고.
Well, not too much chat going on in the Meltdown camp, but they don't seem to be too frustrated with how things are going. Vicetone probably going to be able to clean up Nadeko here. The TVP not going to be having too many difficulties getting through the 113, or is he?
Nope.
Bounces the second shell, but gets the job done with the third. In saying that though, Pink Pig has taken a big trade in response to that, and really, it just Meltdown have put themselves in a super, super deep hole, and they're just not able to dig themselves out of this one. I mean, 2 Grill 15s on the attack. I just don't know what you do at this point, really, for Meltdown. I just don't think there's any way out of this.
Yeah, look, they put all their they're putting all their eggs into the one basket. That was the CDC basket. Caren Tiger ready for it. There's just no chance after that. I mean, right now, if we take stock of things, 3 minutes left. Caren Tiger have 5 tanks left. A cap victory isn't really possible at this stage because Caren Tiger are always going to be able to reset it. Nothing's going to be able to happen fast enough. Maybe Marrow here could potentially almost go down to the bat chatter rush.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's going to get the reload off in time that he might actually be able to
no, that
force
shield didn't
him
go
back.
through, I don't think.
I think it did, but just didn't get enough damage. He's got enough damage to actually, well, if he gets a good roll onto Marrow. But Rush has
he's
decided to
reloading.
go for the reload here.
Oh, you see, why do you reload there?
It is 5v5. Meltdown are pretty far behind on HP, but yeah, I don't know. It's possible, but I don't really want to hype it up too much because I'm not sure it's probable, if you get what I mean.
Oh yeah, it's still very possible. I mean, anything can happen when you've still got this many tanks in the game.
Especially with 2 grills, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of burst damage that can come out. I mean, they can almost kill Accio V between the two of them. Maro is a one-shot, Hellcry is a one-shot for either of these Grill 15s. So the tides could turn very quickly if Caren Tiger do play this one incorrectly. But my concern is that Meltdown have just allowed too much to fall by the wayside.
And it's less than 2 minutes in now. The grills are starting to get shot, and we know that grills don't like that.
No, they definitely do not. Cry is down on 121 HP, and he's basically just stuck in this little cubby hole. He's not going to be able to get out of there, or well, maybe he can get one more shot off, but as soon as he peaks, you can bet that Caren Tiger do have a crosshair trained in his direction.
Yep. And that's the issue with the grills. As soon as they're spotted like that, there's just not enough room to maneuver 2 grills on this map on the attacking side. So right now, Caren Tiger looking pretty strong, although
He's fine, he's fine. Mario does not have anywhere near enough time to reload here, so Rush does secure the player advantage, but albeit it's a very slight one, given that Cry and Rush are so low on HP. They're almost a one-shot. 34 seconds left on that cap. Only 1 minute left on the clock in general here for Meltdown to work with. So Caren Tiger, they really just need one reset here and they should be okay. Still have yet to actually get that. Momo now taking a little bit of damage in that grill. Accio V getting shot up.
Gets a reset.
And, well, he did get the reset, but he goes down. And now the health pool still very much favoring Caren Tiger, but the tanks in the game favoring Meltdown for the moment. 43 seconds left on that clock. The base is being capped still by Meltdown. But you got to feel like Caren Tiger surely can't throw this one away.
Yeah, no, Caren Tiger, there's no way that Hawami, as long as he's got a clip.
Or the MX-50B just went down without taking a single shot out of that clip that he had left. Pink Pig in the TVP, still dancing around on that flag. 3 tanks left for Meltdown. All of them one shot. I think that's going to be it there. I don't think that Caren Tiger are going to be falling by the wayside for this one. Rush is going to have to come up with something absolutely massive. He does have 3 shots left in the clip, but he goes down to the AMX-50B, and Cry in the Grill 15 has no possible way of getting the damage that he needs to in this time.
Ooh, I tell you what,
So
they did bring it down to the wire, Meltdown. You've got to give it to them.
Yeah, they
did
gave it a
go
good
to
crack.
Yeah, gave it a fair crack.
But
fair shake of the sauce bottle.
That is true, but it's a 2-0 in the favour of Caren Tiger, and that's really what matters at the end of the day. Great start for CT.
Yep, great start, absolutely, and they're looking just as strong as they were last week, in my opinion, with this new roster. And really, you've got to wonder, like, did Meltdown honestly think that CDC strat would work?
Well, they must have, otherwise why would they not? Why would they have picked it?
I mean, like, were they going into that thinking, oh yes, this is 100% definitely going to work. They're not going to counter this, because it felt like that's what they were thinking, which is just a little bit naive to me to think.
Yeah,
that,
yeah, I agree.
That after doing it week 1.
I think maybe you can go for the CDC strat, but when you put 2 grills on your side as well, like, go for 1 grill maybe, and have a 50B or another bat chat. Gives you a little bit more options, right? It felt like they didn't have a plan B.
Yeah, like you've got to remember a bat chat, right? It gets like, well, more damage than a grill off by the second reload of the clip, which is a few seconds. You know, shoots one, few seconds, shoots two, it's done more than a grill. So to pick 2 grills in that situation, one, always absolutely perfect to have right at the back of your team, you know, pumping out big alpha, but 2, not great there for Meltdown, in my opinion.
Yeah, they really backed themselves into a corner there. Caren Tiger read the situation well. Let's have a look at the replays and find out, you know, it just felt to me like Caren Tiger, they kind of instantly countered the strategy that Meltdown had, and there was really nothing that Meltdown could do once Polly was in that little bit of a cubbyhole.
Yeah, absolutely. There really was nothing at all that it could do, so very disappointing, but at the end of the day, it's how the tracks fall off sometimes, Jordan. And it was a good decision here by Rush, at least, to get the reload, and rather than chance RNG for Maro. I mean, got to give him props for that. Yeah, apart from that, nothing else really to note. So Caren Tiger, a little bit unfortunate with their rolls, really. That's the only thing that kept Meltdown in it so far.
Yeah, 4 of the Meltdown guys up towards the top of the scoreboard. I guess that just goes to show how close that battle was, but really not too great of a situation for them in the end. Accio V in the T10 did a good job being in that tier 9 tank, managing to get the damage across, and AMX50B up towards the top there as well for Caren Tiger. No real surprises. On the second half of the scoreboard, I think things are going to look maybe a little bit less fantastic for Meltdown. We know the CDC wouldn't have really put in all that much damage. The IS-7 got taken down straight off the board. Like, that's what I don't understand. You know, maybe if Pathfinder had just played a little bit safer, they had that extra tank in the game, that could have been the difference. But he decided to just drive onto the 2 flag and die.
Like, very, very strange play there by Pathfinder in the IS-7. Like, it was like he was playing, you know, like a T1 10E3 or a mouse or something like that.
But even then, you wouldn't do that, I don't think.
Even then, yeah, exactly. You'd probably want a better strat than that, than just to drive onto the flag and die. You're right. So, anyways, that's how it worked out for Meltdown, unfortunately. And they've just got to look on now to the next map. We've seen in the post-battle stats there that definitely a few disappointing performances for Meltdown. But look, Caren Tiger are playing brilliantly here.
Yeah, they're looking really good. They really seem to be reading the play a little bit on a different level to Meltdown at the moment, feeling a lot more comfortable with things. But moving on to Muravanka, it is Meltdown's pick, so, you know, maybe there's something in it for them there. I'm not so sure about it. I don't necessarily think Muravanka is going to be a really confident pick for any of these teams just yet, but perhaps Meltdown are going to come out here on Muravanka and blow me away a little bit, because that's kind of what they need to do now. They need to really fight back here with a 2-0 on Muravanka. If they go 1-1, it's 3 on the board for Caren Tiger. And for me, when you hit that number 3, that's when things start to really fall into place.
It'll be really interesting to actually see the amount of battles that have started off with one team, you know, getting 3, and then the percentage of those teams that have ended up going on to win those battles. Because I think, like you said, it does really feel like as soon as you hit that 3, then more like 80–90% of the time, that will be the team that wins. Particularly in this season 2, now that we're in, because last season we definitely saw a lot of tiebreakers. So far, it might just be the early part of the season. We haven't seen every team.
We haven't seen any tiebreakers so far.
Yeah, exactly, but we haven't seen any tiebreakers. So that's really interesting to see whether we will see more. I mean, if this match doesn't turn out to be a tiebreaker, then I'll be surprised.
Well, I mean, you did predict a tiebreaker. I said 5-3 in the favor of Meltdown, which, look, I'm not prepared to change, really, at this point. It's still on the cards. We just have to see. Well, look, if Meltdown come out here in 2-0 Muravanka, then I think they're in with a shot. But if this goes to anything other than a 2-0 for Meltdown, I'm probably jumping ship and going over to Caren Tiger.
Yep, we've got plenty of room on the boat, Jordan, but you have to be careful for the Tigers. They don't like disloyal casters.
Oh, okay.
Here we are, though. Let's take a look at what tanks the Tigers will be bringing in to Muravanka. And it will be Batchat's Object 432, a nice little high penetration Soviet's Tier 9 medium, T110E5, and a Kranwagen. So, yeah, bit of a standard lineup there for Caren Tiger. Interesting that they've gone with the T110E5 on the attack. To me, it screams that they're going to be going for those hills near the flag.
Yeah, you would think so, and they've got a pretty quick lineup there as well with a couple of bat chats, a bat chat AP. I mean, the Object 140 is not the fastest of medium tanks, but it can get around pretty well. So I would definitely expect that we're probably seeing a one flag push here, maybe even a quick one flag push from Caren Tiger. Get on there straight away. It looks like Nadeko and Akio V are going to be the ones to do that job. Polly just spotting in the town as well. And the rest of the Caren Tiger guys sitting back for the moment at least. But we're going to need to see Meltdown respond to this one quickly. It's really Pathfinder in that 113. Once he gets up towards sort of F1 or G1, starts to fire some shots into those back chats. He's going to be the resetter for Meltdown. He's the one to watch.
That's right. So we've got 40 seconds left on the cap there. Caren Tiger putting a lot of early pressure on. I like that. And getting their kind of heavies into the right spots to get hull down on towards that cap.
Well, there's one reset, but it was onto the T125, which is not the tank with the cap points. It's the two bat chats that Caren Tiger putting all of their stock in. And at the moment, Maro is just blocking the fire into those bat chats from Meltdown. 7 seconds left on the clock. Is Meltdown even going to respond to this one in time? Looks like Rush is going to go over, but he's going to sacrifice himself for the reset. He's still alive. He's got another shot off. Can he get a third? Yes, that's not too bad of a result, actually. He is not being focused down well at all here by Caren Tiger. He survives for so long. So many shots went in his direction and didn't penetrate or didn't even connect. And Meltdown now really in with a chance of actually pulling off the win here. They've got a very good trade, 3 for 2. They have the HP advantage. And, well, Caren Tiger have really let a chance go begging there, Alex, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very, very rough there by Caren Tiger, not calling the primary targets right. Rush stayed alive for way too long. Now suddenly it's a 3-on-5. Meltdown with a big HP advantage, about 2,000 hit points ahead right now. Look, and with Helkarai going down, I just do not see a way for Caren Tiger to come back into this one. Perfect defense from Meltdown.
Yeah, I really would like to see a replay of that because I want to see how many shots actually were fired in the direction of Rush when he was one shot away from death that either didn't connect or didn't penetrate, because I'm sure it was, you know, maybe 4 or even 5 coming out. It just wasn't good enough, and he was allowed to get, I think, 3 of his shells off, maybe even 4.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's almost worth it. Like
100% it is,
Yeah.
You know, because you've created so much chaos. You know, there's tanks,
and they're all looking around,
exactly,
looking at him.
that are looking at you, that are turning their turrets, and you've got to remember, you know, that 3 tanks turning their turrets, if it takes maybe 1 second or so, or 1.5 seconds to turn your turret, 1.5, 3, 4.5 seconds for those 3, another 4.5 to turn it back around. You know, that time adds up, and time is damage in these battles with these auto
especially when there's so many bat chats on the field that can get so much damage out in maybe 10 seconds, you know, something like that. So, yeah, some real errors, I think, coming out from Caren Tiger there. They've got no one really to blame but themselves for that loss. They had the setup that they needed. They just weren't able to execute it the way that they needed to.
Yes, no, you're right. And look, they did get onto the cap early, and again, that was decisive play, so I did like that element of it. But again, like the T125 in that scenario, when you're doing a fast push, I just don't see why you'd use it. Why not a T57 Heavy? Why not another Kranwagen in place of that? When you're going for a fast push, which is likely going to be, you know, meeting some auto-loaded resistance and getting into a brawl like that. Doesn't make sense to me for that one, but let's take a look and see if it did deal much damage at all in the replays.
Rush, okay, let's see. 1 misses. I think another one bounces off him at least. There's another missed one from Nadeko. Finally, the shot goes in. So I think there was 3 there that might have not connected or missed, and just the focus fire from Meltdown was quite good. Polly got wrecked, Akio V got wrecked, Maro got wrecked. And then, well, by this stage, it was too little too late, really, for Caren Tiger to come back into things.
Yeah, that's right. And
a couple of shells bouncing off that IS-7 as well from the Kranwagen. Doesn't help. I think that was 3 in a row. Maybe his entire clip here. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, his entire clip. He didn't even manage to do a single point of damage to that IS-7.
That is not ideal for the Kranwagen. So
Rush, 1,500 damage. I mean, that's really
you can't complain
he got
about
4
that.
shots off.
You cannot complain.
1,600 almost, really.
Yeah, 1,600 damage, absolutely. And the TVP there, Cry, dealing 1,600 damage. Vice Tone, Mr. Batchat, that's where we like to see him, up on the top of the scoreboard. 10 shots fired, 3.4k damage dealt. It's exactly what you are looking for in the bat chat.
Bat chat APs for Caren Tiger missing from that top 7 lineup, and those are the guys that were really in the middle of the fight where we wanted to see them getting the damage across. Let's have a look and see. Poly, 1,000 damage. Yeah, I guess it's not too bad. Maro only got 1 shot across though, so...
Yeah, Maro not... Again, that's a T110 E5. I feel if Maro could have, you know, influenced that one a little bit more, then things could be different. But shout out to Zenlon in the Object 432. That tier 9 did definitely kind of hold its own, I guess, in there with a solid amount of damage. But now we are 2-1, so Meltdown catching up a little bit, and they've got to be happy with that.
I'm still not so sure if I'm really confident yet about Meltdown. To me, that felt more like Caren Tiger allowing Meltdown to get the victory there than Meltdown really forcing the victory. So this second half of Muravanka is going to be a little bit telling as well. When Meltdown moves over to that attacking side, they need to be the ones making the plays.
I'd agree. Yeah, Meltdown does need to just take a little bit more control, kind of try and dominate the map a little bit more, because it does feel like they've been in that one. They were successful in reacting to Caren Tiger, making the play, which I suppose does happen on the defensive side. They did set up into some pretty good defensive positions, pretty standard defensive positions, but this time they're going to be on the attack, so it's going to be up to Meltdown to take the initiative, to push in themselves. And I think Caren Tiger, I think their lineup that they picked last time would work a lot better in the defensive side.
Yeah, potentially. They did have a pretty good... It looked like a lineup that could sit very well on the defensive side. Not so sure what we're going to see from Meltdown here on the attack. I'm not really a fan of the Kranvagen on attack of Muravanka. It doesn't seem to have a place for me. It's probably just a little bit too slow around the map. I'd sooner see, you know, a 113 in place of that, or even another...
AMX50B maybe?
No, not an AMX50B. I'd probably just see another bat chat in the lineup if we were going for an autoloader, to be honest.
I guess. Another bat chat certainly wouldn't hurt. I like my T57s, but...
Yeah, we don't really see it much on Muravanka though.
No, we don't, I guess, which is a little bit unfortunate, but what can you do, I guess. And in terms of tank destroyers, we don't really see many on Muravanka. Maybe a grill on the defense, potentially, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that.
Let's find out. We've got the tank picks coming in here for the second half of Muravanka, and Meltdown do actually take Kranvagen on the attack along with a T125, so I think it's... Is that the exact same lineup that Caren Tiger just took on the attack? I'm pretty sure it is.
Caren Tiger...
Oh no, Caren Tiger had a...
T110E5.
Yeah, they had a 140 though, as well.
And the Object 432.
Oh yeah.
A bit of a different lineup there from Caren Tiger, but you know, I like the IS4, like the double Kranvagens on the defense, bat chats, AMX 1390. You know, a bit of personal preference whether you go for the bat chat APs or the AMX 1390. I think going for the extra tier 10 in this scenario is a little bit better, particularly because you can use that much lower profile AMX 1390, much more disposable, to scout out around the 2 flag.
Well, it's Meltdown looking like they're performing something reasonably similar to Caren Tiger. A bit of a different execution, but you can see they've actually got those heavy tanks starting to make their way into that flag. Momo does take a big shell from AkiOV. It was a nice roll from him, but AkiOV does get some shots in response in his direction. So overall, the trade is quite successful for Meltdown.
Yeah, not too bad at all. With Momo 7 in that T110E5, taking a little bit. Oh, and now Evenfall's been spotted out, and you can just see, you know, when we're looking from Caren Tiger's perspective here, as soon as they spot out one, it's like every single, you know, laser is pointed at that tank. So I'm not too sure where that...
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. It was a... Did it go right through the turret? I'm not sure, but I thought that wasn't possible. Still, maybe it is.
If so, very unlucky roll. Right now, Upa is ready to get the reset any time, and I like the IS4 here over the IS7. It's a slightly different gun, of course.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of in the calm before the storm here, really. This is just the perfect setup for another Muravanka game where those guys get on the flag, start to get that time out, and it forces the defensive side in. Evenfall so far out of position, though, here for Meltdown. If he gets picked off, that could be trouble. But Meltdown at the moment, I feel like, are doing a pretty good job of getting those little poking trades early on in the piece. Yeah, they've gotten reset here at least once, but, you know, they have slightly won the trades, I feel. Like,
Slightly.
Accio V in the Kranwagen, he's only a couple of shots away from death. So if a fight does break out here, he can be very quickly removed from the battle.
Yeah, for sure. So that is definitely a danger there for Caren Tiger. But so far they do still have Yupa on full HP. Helkarai in that Kranwagen looks like his gunner is dead at the moment, which is not great. And I'm guessing he doesn't have a first aid kit to patch him back up. Often these players do just run with the double repair kit or
Well,
skimp out the first aid.
some tense times coming in here. Alex, it's a good time to jump on board with Caren Tiger as they start to get this battle underway.
バット1、バット1、バット1。
島にバレたよ。
ここで中にいる。
先じゃ降りろ。先じゃ降りろ。AP 撃たれる。AP。AP。
これ肩切られてまず AP いや
AP から気をつけろ。気をつけろ。
あ、オッケー。一ライン取れないの？いやもう中入れ。
中。
バットAP が1のバット2。
バットが履けなかったな。
履けなかった。すまん。マジか。
しゃあないな。
Well, that was a little bit interesting. Caren Tiger getting really into that one, but didn't work out too well in game for them. Meltdown looking in a pretty secure position here with now a 5 versus 2 advantage in terms of tanks.
Yep.
And just the execution here on Moravanka has been a lot better by Meltdown than it definitely has been by Caren Tiger.
Yeah, for sure. Very fair effort there from Meltdown. And Caren Tiger with the loss again. I think that listening to their comms there, Jordan, in my mind, it showed that Caren Tiger weren't actually communicating quite as much as they needed to. They had a little burst of communication when we started listening to them, but then it really died off.
Yeah. I think once they kind of figured out that they weren't winning the fight, they were just like, ah.
Yeah, it's like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what they said.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's a really good result now for Meltdown, bringing it back to 2-2. I said that's exactly what they needed to do. They've managed to hold Caren Tiger out here on Moravanka, their own map pick. They'll move on to their next map pick, which is Himmelsdorf, which actually has been a good map for both of these teams. I guess we'll break that down a little bit more when we get a little bit further on. But yeah, Meltdown have come back into this one quite successfully, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. And Caren Tiger maybe just getting a little bit too confident coming into Moravanka here. I'm not too sure. Taking a look at the map picks and who actually picked Moravanka, it was Meltdown. Maybe Caren Tiger should have taken it out in the veto process, do you think?
Maybe. It's possible. I don't know what they actually vetoed.
Probably would have been not Himmels, maybe Proc.
No, Himmels was in the... Yeah, potentially Prokhorovka. Hard to say. Prokhorovka hasn't been a great map, though, this season from Meltdown, so I don't know. Anyway, let's go jump into the replays before we get on too much of a tangent.
Now let's have a look. So right now, this was the kind of start of the fight there, and really, Caren Tiger just not prioritizing targets too well, and you know, getting those Kranwagens down, getting the T110E5. Like, there's no real reason that you want to take down the T110E5 first, because it's not going to do that much. You know, you want to be taking down the Batchats first, the Batchat APs first, before they can get their clips off. You know, even the Kranwagen, which, technically speaking, shouldn't be the second priority target either, because it's a heavy tank that doesn't deal that much damage.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Accio V was really low on HP there. What were you talking about? Anyway,
that's because they shot them.
Yeah, never mind. Good results there for Meltdown. The Batchats up towards the top there. Cry, Rush, and Vicetone doing a good job. Pathfinder also in his Batchat AP, getting a decent amount of damage this time, though. At least for Caren Tiger there, Kranwagen got some damage across, but you know, again, it is what it is. Meltdown just proving to be a little bit too strong there on Moravanka.
Yep, absolutely. And Yupa in the IS4, I think he actually did quite well for that little position that he got himself in. Unfortunately, Polly, there's 0 damage. Not ideal for Mr. Polly. And Zenlon there in the AMX 1390. Again, I mean, you can't really expect too much from an AMX, but would have been interesting to see if they had gone the double Batchat AP route instead, whether that would have worked out any better for them. But anyways, for now, it's time for Meltdown to look forward. Caren Tiger to look forward as well.
Exactly. And this is going to be really an important map between these two teams. Himmelsdorf has been, so far this season and last season, a really strong map for both of them.
Yep.
You know, Meltdown, 75% win rate this season. Caren Tiger, 80% win rate on that map this season. And it's their most played map for both of these sides. So I'm expecting, if we see a 2-0 either way, obviously I think that team is going to win here. But I'm thinking probably a 1-1. They seem to be both really comfortable on this map.
Yeah, look, I would be surprised to see a 2-0 either way, just for that reason that you've said there, Jordan, because they are both such comfortable teams on this map. I'm sure that either of them could pull off a win. You know, it may come down to tank picks a little bit. You know, what we see coming out. Are we going to see, you know, any tank destroyers coming out of the Caren Tiger side? A Meltdown maybe going to go with the FVs in here, maybe the 183 or the 4005.
Hard to say. I think it's very, very, very possible that Caren Tiger will. Yupa has had some really good games in the 4005 throughout this season so far, so I would be surprised even to see them not picking it up. Meltdown, on the other hand, I think maybe might go a little bit more standard. Get the 50Bs, get the 113s, the IS7s, that kind of thing. Even a bat chat there for Vice Tone as well.
Oh yeah, well, you've got to put Vice Tone in a bat chat, don't you? Absolutely. So that's just a given on any map. Vice Tone probably going to be heading into a bat chat, probably going to be heading up the hill on the eastern side of the map, of course, up near where the big church is. That's actually what the map is named after as well. That hill.
Really?
Himmelsdorf.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Interesting. Having a look here at Himmelsdorf, obviously very city-centric map. We do see a lot of those big tank destroyers, T110E3s, 4005s, FV215B 183s. So that's a question on my mind. Which one of them, if any, are we going to be seeing coming out from Caren Tiger? I'm putting my money on the 4005.
Yep.
Yupa
Good money.
seems like the guy to pick that one up here. And it is actually going to be Caren Tiger starting off on the defense. So this would be the one if they were going to pick it up, but they have decided not to this time.
Okay, well, going with a bit more of a kind of cookie cutter lineup, I guess, with the 113s, Amex 50Bs and the bat chats. In the meantime, Meltdown have locked in the grill, which I don't know if I'm a massive fan of the grill on Himmelsdorf. It'll be interesting to see how they use it. Obviously, very squishy.
I like it. I like it up on the hill when you're attacking.
Up on the hill,
you know, you can get some good shots down.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
They've got Batchat AP and a WZ111, so I thought maybe if they had a 1390, they'd get themselves on the northern flag, have the grill firing down into that flag, but not so sure what they're going to do with this sort of a setup. So we'll have to see.
Let's find out. Let's find out. So, the rollout here, 2 apiece. Like Mr. Batchat, Vice Tone is going to be pushing very early on. And we've got Rush here as well. Rushing towards the center of the map. Some early spots come out from Vice Tone. Don't think that's going to eventuate in much damage, but I like Zenlon's positioning here for Caren Tiger.
And Maro and Nadeko, well, at least Maro at the moment in a really good spot to get shots on the cross.
Yep.
Helkurai and Yupa also set up very well. So I think Meltdown have, you know, they probably should have recognized that that was going to happen. Zenlon getting in that little corner there is a pretty dead giveaway that there's going to be some guys sniping across the courtyard. But at the very least, Meltdown have used this time to get some good map control up towards the north. Polly could get caught out here in his bat chat by those 50Bs. He's spotted out, and now the 50Bs are going to fire a couple of shells in his direction, only taking one. But this is a bit interesting now. Caren Tiger are going to be taken from all sides. They need to find some sort of a way to get their forces in a position to fight here, because Akio V could get caught out.
Yeah, potentially Akio V there with that track. He decides, did he repair it? I'm not too sure, but
I think so.
Yeah, should be able to get some shots on towards Pink Pig. But the issue now is that Caren Tiger are all coming down, barreling down towards this banana line. I think we are going to see a massive brawl.
This
here,
is
Jordan.
Definitely going to be a massive brawl, Alex, and it's hard to say who's going to come out of it with the advantage. Meltdown have lost the first tank. It's Momo going down, but it is their tier 9 tank. That's a couple of really nice bounces there from Nadeko. Still another bounce. This is not good at all from Meltdown. They've wasted at least 3 shells, and he is just tanking so well in the 113. That might be it. That might be really what Caren Tiger need to pull through for this one. Meltdown at least have managed to pull back 1 kill. It's Akio V going down, but gee, Nadeko, who tanked a lot of damage, finally goes down with a couple of shots in the back from the 50B. Rush in the meanwhile, as well as Cry, getting super duper low, and it's still really hard to say. This one hanging in the balance for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Hellcry should be able to take down Pink Pig as well. Marrow's coming around. Might be able to put some more damage down, but Zenlon here in this bat chat, look at this, he's being chased by Rush while he's on the
Rush, he's counted the reloads very well here. He knows both Polly and Zenlon are on the reload. If he can find a couple of shots in here, if he can even get a kill, maybe that's going to be enough to turn the tables back in the favor of Meltdown. But the reloads coming across here. Zenlon does manage to pick up the kill. Vicetone picked up the kill, though, onto the other bat chat that was running away from Rush. And we're back to a 4 versus 4. The health advantage slightly favoring Meltdown, and now the tank advantage does as well. AMX50B of Pathfinder soon to be off the reload. Even fall. Oh, he missed the shot onto Yupa.
That's costly.
That's costly indeed, but he shouldn't get punished for it too hard. He's still alive. He's got plenty of HP to play with, and really the only threat on this Caren Tiger lineup now is Hellcry in that AMX50B.
Yep, that's right, and well, they need to take down Evenfall here, but Evenfall, he just needs one shot on towards Hellcry or Marrow, and they are down, so this is going to be a big struggle for Caren Tiger to come back from.
Yeah.
But look, they can do it. You know, all it needs is another missed shot from Evenfall, and that could be the cue for Caren Tiger to pull the trigger and go in. Yupa, he's almost certainly reloaded by now. He's looking pretty healthy in the AMX50B. So, oh, it's just a Mexican standoff here.
It really is. It really is. Waiting for that third Meltdown player who's actually at the moment unspotted by Caren Tiger to try and sneak around, maybe get involved in the fight here. The trouble is that Meltdown have got Cry so low on HP, so he's going to have to be very, very careful with when he peaks. If he can get the damage across in that 50B. But Pathfinder, he can survive a shell or two. Evenfall can survive a couple of shells as well. There's a missed shot from Meltdown. But for Caren Tiger to even allow it to get back into this position, I think is maybe a little bit of a mistake. They did have the health advantage early on in that brawl, but now Meltdown in a decent position here. And look at this, this rotation. The rotation from Evenfall has been very, very good. If Hellcry gets spotted out, which he does, Evenfall should have a reasonably easy shot in there, but he doesn't have the time. He hasn't been able to rotate fast enough. Maro does take a shot, goes down to Pathfinder in the 50B, and now the fight's starting in sort of a real sense. Hellcry and Yupa in the 50Bs doing a lot of work, and well, this is really down to the wire. It should probably favor Caren Tiger. Evenfall can't get the shot across. He just needs to get one shot into both of them. There's no way they survive.
Yeah, exactly. It has to favor Caren Tiger, because Caren Tiger right now, they probably want to reload, make sure they've got three shots in the clip, and even if Evenfall takes out one of them, then 13 seconds, the other one should be able to take out Evenfall. Should be. But
if he finds a way to just sort of turn this into a 1v1, they do know the direction that he's traveling in, though, so that's the difficulty for him here, and they've played it pretty well. I don't see a situation here where Caren Tiger lose this one, unless, I don't know, maybe something like one of them gets ammo racked, the turret flies up and hits the other AMX50B and blows it up. I don't know.
Well, stranger things have happened, Jordan. But
imagine that. That would be a top play of the week, for sure. But if Evenfall could clutch this one out, it's going to be pretty huge for Meltdown. It looked like they were going to win it, and well, it looked like Caren Tiger were going to win it, and then it looked like Meltdown were going to win it, and now it looks like Caren Tiger are going to win it. But this is such a tense moment. Both these 50Bs are so close.
And he needs to do it because Evenfall is on the attack here. Caren Tiger, they just have to sit down, and you got to wonder, maybe does Evenfall even try and hide behind that one flag? Oh no.
He doesn't even really have a turret that can turn very well. Oh, he takes a shot. He knows where they are now. He hasn't actually spotted them out because of the way that the spotting system works with the spot points on his tank. They're quite far back. But he does, of course, know that they are there. He gets spotted out, takes a shot. Caren Tiger are playing this one really well, though.
Yeah, smart play from Caren Tiger, and that's going to be so hard for Evenfall to do anything. Does he not just maybe try sitting behind the little house on the one flag?
Yeah, I think maybe that's an option. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who has the better view range, the grill or the 50B, because I assume the 50Bs here have got coated optics. And I don't know what equipment Evenfall is running.
I think he's just running.
Yeah, he doesn't have any view range enhancer, so he's got the camo. He's got the vertical stabilizer and the rammer, so he doesn't have great view range. I think the 50Bs actually will outspot the grill 15.
Well, the 50B, of course, does have best.
I mean, Evenfall's trying his best here. He's really giving himself as many possibilities to win this one as he can. He's trying to see what he can do. I mean, well, that's not going to be too helpful. But really, he's pretty much backed into a corner. I think maybe best case scenario is he gets on this two flag sort of pre-aims where those 50Bs are going to come from, and then he takes a shot as they peak to try and reset him. Does have enough time to cap here, so the 50Bs will have to respond. If he can hit that first shot, I don't know if the 50B is going to get there in time to actually trade out the kill, in which case it'll come down to whether or not Evenfall can catch the remaining 50B and take a shot. So let's see. Yupa is going to head forward. So tense, Alex.
Oh my goodness. And Yupa, those AMX 50Bs, they do have 10 meters more view range as a base than Evenfall. 400 versus 390. And 1 minute 22 seconds.
They're going to just wait till as late as possible.
They could. They could.
Although they run the risk then if the first one gets popped, they don't get the reset, he ducks behind, caps it out. So they probably have to go with maybe 20, 30 seconds left on the clock here to try and get that reset.
Man. And can't Evenfall hug that little wall there and make it very, very hard for them to get through with a tiny profile of the grill?
Right, here we go. This is going to be so huge if Evenfall can clutch this one out. He's aiming in the correct direction, but maybe just needs to aim a little bit more to the right. It feels like he has been spotted out. Yupa does it!
Oh, he gets it!
He got the reset.
Oh,
he
my
got
goodness.
the reset. That's the important thing here, really, for Caren Tiger. And now it's down to Hellcry surviving the next 45 seconds. It's a one-shot for either of these tanks. You've got to feel like Hellcry has the advantage in this situation.
I am literally on the edge of my seat right now.
He is.
Look, you've got to think so, but all Evenfall has to do is, he's the one on the attack, so even just like a little bit of the kind of ping difference could mean that Evenfall could come around and blind fire Hellcry just as he's spotted. You know, like
14 seconds left on the clock here. Hellcry knows that Evenfall is going to be going for this. He's looking in the correct direction. Surely Hellcry wins this duel. He gets the shot, and Caren Tiger find the win. It is Meltdown dropping the first round of Himmelsdorf. It was so close. Evenfall really gave it his best crack, but
oh man,
not quite enough in the end there.
Yeah, I was thinking Evenfall might try something crazy like blind fire that when he came around.
The problem is the grill's turret couldn't turn enough. He would have had to have turned his hull. You know, maybe if he was in like a fully turreted tank destroyer, Scorpion G, something like that, he could have pre-aimed, you know, a 90-degree angle, driven straight, and hoped for a lucky RNG roll. But with the Grill 15, you can't quite do that, so he needed to really fully actually commit to it. And that was his undoing in the end there, you know. So maybe if it was like a bat chat or something left alive instead of the Grill, there was a definite chance that it could have been a different case there. But in the end, really a good clutch play from Caren Tiger there.
Absolutely crazy play there from Caren Tiger. But look, they do pick it up. And, you know, we said that this was Himmelsdorf. This was, you know, the map where both of these teams are so good on each in their own right. And it would come down to the wire. I don't think you can actually get more down to the wire than that, Jordan. So, if the next half of Himmelsdorf is anything like that, we're in for such a treat.
Yep. Definitely are, but we're set up well and truly for my 5-3 prediction of a Meltdown victory, so who knows what we're going to see coming out from here. Let's have a look back at the replay of that one on Himmelsdorf. Definitely was a very exciting match. Rush, he played this one pretty well. He got the timing correct. He did take down Polly in the end. No, he missed the shot there. That could have been all the difference. If he had have waited, aimed in, taken another shot, one shot was really the difference between these two teams. I guess you can nitpick so hard. But at the end of the day, it really just came down to this, and it was a great shot from Yupa. He knew what he had to do, and it's that little bit of a difference between the spotting of the Grill and the 50B. The 50B spotted him a little bit earlier, And in the end, got the shot across just in time. Yupa with 4.1k damage. Certainly the hero there, Helkurai as well, the other 50B that was alive towards the end, got the final blow, but I think it was Yupa with the reset really that you would have to write home about. 4.2k for Pathfinder in the 50B as well. Of course, it's going to be a high damage game given that there was so much damage dealt and so much or so little left on the field at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pathfinder obviously going to be pretty happy with that 4.2k damage. And look, Vicestone again, putting Vicestone in the bat chat AP. He's only dealt 1800 there, which, you know, isn't too bad, but wouldn't have minded maybe just a touch more from Mr. Batchat. And then down at the bottom, did have Momo in that WZ111, didn't work out too well. The other tier 9 heavy tank, Akio V in that T10, didn't really do too much work. And unfortunately, even for, he fired 4 shots, only hit, well, probably one and a bit. So, yeah, not ideal if he'd have just got that last one.
Well, set ourselves up for a very good series now. Meltdown will be moving over to the defensive side of Himmelsdorf. They're going to have a good crack at that one. If they can pull it back to 3v3, then well, it's really hard to call. But again, if Caren Tiger is able to pull this one off 2-0, like I said before Himmelsdorf started, this was such a crucial one for both of these teams. It is a really good map for both of them. And if either of them were able to find a 2-0, then it felt like they were going to be able to come out on top. But Meltdown no longer have that option. Only Caren Tiger can pull off the 2-0 here.
Oof. Yeah, there we go. So Meltdown without that option now to pull off the 2-0 on Himmelsdorf. I think Caren Tiger definitely be looking to secure that, and it's really got to kind of feel like a punch in the guts there a little bit for Meltdown, losing it when you've just come that close, and it's got to be draining for them. You know, they're in this battle for what that was 10 minutes essentially, you know, and it went right down to the wire, and then to see it just go up in smoke like that with one shot from an AMX 50B.
Yeah, the disappointing thing for Meltdown is no matter how close you get, you know, you don't get any more points for almost winning. You know, it's 1 point on the side of Caren Tiger, 0 for Meltdown. And they're going to need to respond here in the second half of Himmelsdorf. It's going to take a lot of thinking as to what tanks they want to take here. You know, a Grill 15, you know, you questioned it at the start, remember?
I did.
You said you're not so sure about the Grill 15 there on Himmelsdorf.
I don't like the Grill on Himmelsdorf because
if it was a 50B, if it was a bad chat, would have given them a lot more freedom in that clutch situation. But who's to say the match would have turned out like that anyway? So all theory at this point. Now, moving on to the second half of Himmelsdorf, we'll have a look at the tank lineups. Meltdown be going with pretty standard, no grill this time. IS-4 for Caren Tiger and a couple of T10s.
Yeah, I don't mind that. The IS-4 and the T10s. Bit of bulk in the lineup. The IS-4, of course, the nice thing about that one compared to the IS-7 is that it does have 2,500 hit points. IS-7, yes, it's a little bit bouncier technically, but just doesn't quite have the HP buffer. The T10s, of course, they're basically mini IS-7s that don't bounce anything at this tier.
Well, yeah.
So it means they're kind of like mini, not IS-7s, just they have the IS-7's gun-ish. Anyways.
Not quite as good as the IS-7's gun, or not quite as much alpha. But Caren Tiger with the AMX 50Bs on the field, I do like that. 3 of them, lots of damage potential for them. Starting to make their way up in towards the banana by the looks of things with a few of them. A couple up towards the hill as well. Control early across the map for Caren Tiger.
That's correct. Now, of course, Tiger moving up the banana a little bit. Things which we do mention quite often, actually, is that banana. And for those that may be a little bit unaware of where the banana is whenever we switch to it, show you right now. Banana line, let's draw it in red. Is this line down here? Just along that 8 line, which is shaped a little bit like a banana. You know, if I use my drawing skills, that's sort of...
That's awful banana. It's not even the right color.
Anyways, pretend that's a banana. So...
Well, I think that was a bit of a stretch, Alex.
Draw it next time, mate.
Hey?
You can draw it next time.
I don't want to draw it next time. I know I'm not a good drawer. Caren Tiger, though, have started to get some control up towards the banana. Zenlon spotted out though by Pink Pig here in a 113. Is he going to get a shot across? Doesn't look like he's going to connect it. Not really much of a chance. Moving and firing at that sort of a small target, and it's an IS-4, so...
There we go. So a little bit of a trade-off there with Pink Pig and Zenlon. So a slower start to this one, which lets us have a bit of a breather. Take a look at these two. Of course, Zenlon here in this IS-4 may very well be firing a bit of HE at the turret of 113. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Try and get that one through.
Yeah. Well, Pink Pig's firing HE at Zenlon, and
I think he just reloaded Zenlon.
Not really doing all that much. He did indeed.
He's probably reloading into the HE now. Might not have been on it before. But apart from that, on the map we do have a couple of members of Caren Tiger moving down to the rail tracks down there, down the bottom. They might be looking to make a bit of a push up. There's an HE shot.
Caren Tiger, yeah, spreading across the map a little bit towards the south there, so getting some information in towards the one flank. Don't know if they'll necessarily actually head in that direction though. Doesn't tend to be pushed all that much. Accio V gets spotted out in the courtyard, but he's not going to get too punished for it. 449 damage going into him, but I don't think he's going to take too much more.
Should be alright crossing it. There doesn't seem to be a great amount of Meltdown members kind of guarding out that courtyard, which is interesting. Meltdown here, they're playing very, very defensively right now. They don't have anyone looking across the banana. You know, they didn't have anyone around the courtyard area to punish Accio V, so he's just able to move right up there.
This is a very, very slow, measured pace from Caren Tiger. Slowly but surely pushing forward and getting the advantages and getting the map control that they need. Meltdown quite content to actually let them get this. They've had quite a defensive sort of back hold in towards that 2 flag, really.
Yeah, which is interesting that Meltdown are happy enough for Caren Tiger to push all this way up. I guess they're happy in their defensive setup. But Accio V in that T10, he's taken the one shot. We have seen Pink Pig damaged a little bit. Vicetone actually in the back chat AP, his gun's damaged, which isn't ideal. Not the end of the world, but what you're looking for.
No, not really indeed. So Caren Tiger is starting to mobilize now on that G line. Got 5.5 minutes to work with, so plenty of time. But they do need to get a move on, figure out where they want to go with this. You know, it's going to take them a little while to actually get into a defensive or a good position to actually attack any of these flags, because Meltdown have a pretty decent defensive setup.
Yeah, you're right. Meltdown do, but if these 4 or 5 members from Caren Tiger push on to Evenfall and Vicetone, there's no one from Meltdown that's close enough to be able to help them, and they should just be able to pick up these 2 kills.
Yeah, Accio V is going to get a free shot into the side of Evenfall there, who is now starting to take a lot of damage there from Caren Tiger. Hellcry, in the end, the one to take the kill. Vicetone as well getting lit up a little bit by Caren Tiger. So, good start here for CT. Meltdown have to respond there, just charging down the banana line. Momo and Pink Pig leading that one. Zenlon is going to face a 2v1, but I think this might be too little too late for Meltdown. They've just allowed way too much damage to go over without responding to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a great start here for Meltdown, and Caren Tiger definitely taking the advantage there in the damage dealt, and that tracking onto Pink Pig. Zenlon there, he's like a highway robber escaping from the cops, and Rush as well up on the hill. Just had to reload. I think he had a few shots left in his clip though, didn't he?
I'm not sure. Polly seems to think so. He's hightailing it out of there, but really, Alex, I gotta say, this has not been anywhere near as close for Meltdown as it was last round. Caren Tiger well and truly with the advantage in this one, and just showing Meltdown how it's done in Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see Meltdown, they've had a really rough time with module damage as well. You know, almost every single one of them before they've gone down, having one module or another destroyed. And Zenlon, I'm not too sure how he's still alive, but he is, as he ricochets another shot from Pink Pig. Really, really brilliant play there from Zenlon in that IS-4, you know, kind of knowing the limits of his tank and using it well.
Not so sure what Maro's doing here. He's going to gift a free kill over to Meltdown. He might have just got a little bit too eager to get a kill there, and you know, it's probably not going to hurt Caren Tiger in the end, but that is something that, you know, if you lose a tank like that, maybe that gives another advantage over to Meltdown, where maybe they can come back. Not in this situation though. The cap timer is going to be well and truly closed out by Caren Tiger. So there you go, 4-2 in their favor with a 2-0 on Himmelsdorf. And Caren Tiger now should have no problems closing the rest of this one out.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
Caren tiebreaker may be a reality, knowing that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, knowing them, we say that, but I really do feel as though this new season's Caren tiebreaker, it's
Caren tiebreaker.
Caren tiebreaker. You've just made me say that now. This new season Caren
Freudian slip.
Caren Tiger, like CTV2 almost.
It's kind of like Horseman V2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. And B Gaming v Beta.
-1.
Yeah.
B in
Kind
the
of more
bin.
like an alpha at the moment.
Yeah, it's not looking good for B Gaming. It's
B
looking
Gaming.
good though for Caren Tiger, like
Yeah.
you said. It's looking good for Horseman, and now 4-2, picking up 2 rounds on Himmelsdorf, which was Meltdown's pick. Now moving over to Mines, I think Caren Tiger should be able to even close this one out 5-2. They're looking pretty strong.
I wouldn't be surprised. I like Caren Tiger on Mines. You know, we've seen them win it before, but let's take a little bit of a look back as to what went wrong for Meltdown that time on Himmelsdorf. And early on here, look, like, I don't know what Meltdown were thinking, because they just let Caren Tiger have so much kind of map control and movement that Caren Tiger were just able to stroll 5 tanks, you know, as they pleased, up towards where Evenfall was sitting. And Evenfall's like, oh, look, 5 tanks. Oh, where are my friends?
Yeah.
Guys? And Mr. Batchat died as well. So, not ideal.
Not really, but Caren Tiger are going to be feeling pretty pleased about this situation. I thought it was going to be a difficult task for both of these teams, but Caren Tiger have really come out of this one and started to smash Meltdown, especially on Himmelsdorf there. They looked really, really good. Caren Tiger on Rurenberg were also pretty respectable. Having a look at the battle stats for that one, no surprises to see a 50B up the top. Accio V in the T10 though, that's quite nice. Getting a lot of damage across.
Yeah, Accio V, I mean, he's going to be pretty happy about that in that T10. 9 shots fired, 2.5 thousand damage dealt. And well, the top damage dealer for Meltdown was Momo7 there in that 113, dealing about 2,000 damage, which not really too pretty. Even Marrow in that T10, he did a bit of work with 1842 damage.
Well, see the second side of the scoreboard here.
And it's interesting, yeah, seeing the second side of the scoreboard here, Zenlon, he was all the way down there on 13, but I actually think he played a really kind of good part in helping Caren Tiger to win that one, because, you know, he was faced with 2 tanks, like I think an AMX 50B and a 113 or something like that, and or maybe 2 113s, and like he was able to like ricochet off one, shoot the other in the tracks, you know, turn around, head back, duck into cover, and essentially get away from 2 tanks that were shooting him like it was no one's business.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't matter if you're not doing the damage there in the end. Caren Tiger picked up the victory as a team and find themselves 1 round away from picking up a very convincing win over Meltdown if they do close it out 5-2 here in the first round of Mines, which I think, you know, it feels to me like they're going to be able to do this here, because it just feels like Meltdown, they're not having enough to get it done in the end. I mean, they've had some good rounds. Muravanka, they looked really good on one of them. On the other one, Caren Tiger kind of let it slip away a little bit in that first round of Himmelsdorf as well. Felt like Caren Tiger let it slip away a little bit as well. They threw it a little bit and allowed maybe a chance for Meltdown, but it wasn't quite enough of a chance.
That's been, in my opinion, that's been the issue for Meltdown so far this season. In all the games we've seen them play, is that they have shown some promise. They have shown us that they know how to play World of Tanks, but then we just see them not able to win games. And like, at the end of the day, it's all very well and good, you know, coming close, you know, having a good start to a battle and just not being able to close it out. But if you can't put the points on the board, then at the end of the day, you're going to be sitting at the bottom of the ladder, or you know, you're going to be sitting
not where you want to be.
Not where you want to be, exactly.
Yeah, and that's, well, look, Meltdown, I guess, are not going to be really out of the running if they lose this one. I mean, they'll be 2-2, which is not awful, and they will have had a couple of their really strong opponents out of the way early on in the first couple of weeks. So it might not be too bad for them just yet, but I definitely would have liked to have seen them do a little bit better than what they did so far against Caren Tiger. I mean, there is still a possibility, but at the very least, we're going to a 5-4, which could go either way, obviously. So, you know, Meltdown have at least already missed out on 1 point. Probably at the moment it's looking like they're going to miss out on a few more as well.
Yes, it is. And as we move on to mines, now we've got to start thinking about what tanks guys on Caren Tiger and Meltdown will be picking. Of course, we, might be seeing something a little bit crazier on mines from Caren Tiger. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like a grill, even though it's not that crazy. Have they done the mouse before, Caren Tiger, or is that always?
Yes, they did it on Ruleberg.
Yeah.
But not on
I'm
mines.
thinking on mines, yeah.
No,
B gaming
are the mines ones, yeah.
And EL now.
Well, apparently. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it from Caren Tiger. They do seem to be experimenting with a lot of different strategies. So it's possible. Yeah, maybe. What are they starting on? Let's have a look. They're starting on attack, so I don't think we see a mouse on attack. If we see a mouse on mines, it's going to be on the defense.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Mouse on mines, probably going to be on the defense. But of course, mines is the map where on the defense you probably want some tanks that can hold off pushes, because on the attacking side we do often see these teams go for that hill in the center of the map that offers so much map control, so much vision, and for that you really don't want a mouse. You want some faster medium tanks, bad chats, TVPs and the like, and that's what we're getting.
All right, a mouse on defense from Meltdown. So, you know what? Fair enough. Let's go to T50 from Caren Tiger is something different. Email 2 as well. Again, that can work. On the attack, though, it's going to be hard to say what's going to happen here. I mean, both these teams have a lineup which can contest the hill, but also there's some things that may make them not necessarily want to contest the hill. Obviously, a very slow mouse on the Meltdown side, a Grill 15 which wants to sit back a little bit. And Email 2 not going to be great for rushing the hill for Caren Tiger. I suspect maybe Meltdown are just going to set the T49 up somewhere, spot him out, to spot out. They've actually given up the hill here, which is fair enough, given that they do have a pretty couple of slow tanks on the field. Caren Tiger do have control of that, but now they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with that.
Yeah, that's look, that makes sense for them, I think, for Meltdown to not contest the hill. Unfortunately, it does also mean that they do lose that extra little bit of vision and control that being up on the hill does grant you. But right now, Momo 7 in that mouse, he's going to be getting nice and chummy with the one flag. Helkora might even be able to proxy spot him soon.
Yeah, definitely, he will be able to. But really, it's not going to help Caren Tiger. They pretty much know where the mouse is going to be anyway. And if anything, it actually helps Meltdown a little bit more that Helkora is spotting out the mouse, because it means the mouse is going to spot Helkora, and being that close to the edge, you might be able to get nicked by a couple of shots from maybe the Grill 15 or either of those bat chats sitting back in the base. So I think Helkora needs to be careful when he's spotting that mouse.
Pathfinder in around the place, not seeing just knocking down the Mayans entrance. But overall, pretty slow start from both teams. Not much pressure exerted just yet from Caren Tiger. They have got Highwami up in that E1 area looking down the coast. So you might be able to spot out Pink Pig and Cry fairly soon if they poke outside of the rocks. Meantime, no tanks going for the boost either, which is probably a smart move given that Evenfall would be able to spot them out. Momo 7, Vicetone and Rush would be able to poke any tanks going for the boost.
Yeah, that is the trouble really here for Caren Tiger. There's not an easy way for them to break this hold of Meltdown. The boost obviously would be probably the first thing on your mind, but Evenfall being so far forward in that T49 does make the boost a little bit risky. I don't know if they've spotted out Evenfall just yet, but if Caren Tiger do opt to try and go for the boost, then of course they're going to recognize that something's going on there. But it does look like they're actually maybe heading a little bit more towards the beach side of the map, at least for now. Maro heading back probably in towards a sniping position, or is it going to go over to the boost? Let's have a look.
Wait and see. It's looking like is he going boost? He's still deciding what to do. It could be a little bit of a boost there from Maro if he continues on his current trajectory. In the meantime, down the bottom, we have just seen Pink Pig spotted out down in the H2 area. Yupa's been spotted out in the hill as well. He's in that ML2. Swedish heavy tank.
Maro not spotted out yet, and he's got backup from the Deco. Still hard to say what Caren Tiger are actually going to opt to do here. Nadeko giving his teammate a bit of a love tap on the way through. And now Nadeko does get spotted out. He himself not able to spot out Evenfall. It's a good aggressive scout from Meltdown, even if it is a bit of a passive scout sitting in this bush. Vicetone and I'm not sure who the other one's sitting behind him. I think it might be Rush. Yeah, it's Vicetone and Rush set up in a pretty good position to fire down in towards that one flag. Should Evenfall get into a bit of trouble.
Here we go. So, like right now, the T49 Evenfall obviously doesn't want to fire. They're pretty happy just spotting out those two. Murrow, knowing that he's spotted, can probably ascertain that there's a T49 fairly close by.
Yeah. Does make life really difficult here. Caren Tiger are quite restricted in their movements by this aggressive spotting from Evenfall. They either need to remove him from that position or just kind of go for it anyway and see what happens, because they just need to break this hold eventually. We've seen 4.5 minutes go by. Meltdown have done a pretty good job of setting up a nice defense here on Modes.
Yeah, absolutely. Little Caren Tiger are finding it hard to poke through here. There's no doubt about it. And Caren Tiger need to rethink it a little bit, or maybe we'll head back and push down the coast, because they have spotted out Momo. They've spotted out, well, they know that Evenfall's somewhere around there. And they've spotted out one of these two back shots on the coast.
Oh, there you go. Evenfall taking a big shot, or a big couple of shots, and he does have to move now. So that's really broken things open for Caren Tiger. Great stuff from them. Evenfall, unfortunately, going to go down. He did get a lot of work done, but now the fact that he's out of that position and off the map, it really frees up Caren Tiger.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Caren Tiger, look, now they have the freedom to potentially go for the boost if they want to do that, or even maybe put down on towards the mouse. So you have to be a little bit careful. I would like to see a kind of joined boost or joined push their teams.
Frees up the boost as well here for Caren Tiger. Nadeko needs to get out of the way. Maro looks like he's hit this one pretty nicely, and he'll be able to do the climb, but Momo will punish him for it. Looks like Nadeko, or rather Maro, he's going to try and look for a couple of shots in response, but he won't get them. And he's just going to make his way up the boost here.
Okay, probably just waiting until he's unspotted there, until he can climb a little bit further up. Maro there. Putting out the mouse again. Well, that might be in Hellcry actually proxy spotting it.
Alex, I think I'm in a bit of a mood to hear some Japanese, so let's jump into Caren Tiger and see how they're going about breaking this hold of Meltdown.
見つかった。もう一回いいぞ。しっかりここ殺せきれよ。岩とか使って車線とかね。2枚いるからね。2枚いるから。数別に勝ってるわけじゃないからね。3枚しかいないから。
これさ、上にいたらあれだから前詰めすぎない方がいいこれ。
いや、前行っていいよ。強気に強気に。
もう勝負していい。3分20。3分20。
いや、まあないよ。
いや、俺5発入ってる。
俺が島残るから。
オッケー。じゃあ、確認すると、こっちに1人残って、こっちに2人行くのね。
いや、まず手前だから、この岩使って。この岩使って張り付いてるやつやる。それが
あ、オッケ
ー。よし、行くよ。行くよ。バット打ってるよ。バット打ってるからね。4ラインから行く。2ラインから行くんだよ。2からだよ。2からだよ。仕掛けるぞ。
俺がまず突っ込む。俺がまず突っ込む。
ちょっと待って。ちょっと。原則。オッケー、行こう。
まずここの手前の岩で、まずこれをやろう。手前の岩。
Well, Caren Tiger have decided what they want to do, and that is just to spam their way down the beach. And, well, it's not worked out too nicely so far. Hellcry and Nadeko have taken a huge chunk of damage from Pink Pig and Cry on their entry there. Hiwami is going to lead the charge in here. These two bad chats from Meltdown do need to go down. Caren Tiger can probably safely trade 2 for 2 here. At the moment, they haven't traded at all. They've actually picked up a kill for free. And now Cry is out of ammo. Akio-V and his Skoda T50 should have enough to deal with Cry here, especially if he lands on him, which he won't because Cry is backed out. But Cry cannot respond to this at all, and that's 2 free tanks for Caren Tiger.
Yeah.
It started off really nicely for Meltdown. They got a lot of early damage, but they just weren't able to convert the kills. In saying that, though, Caren Tiger do have a HP disadvantage and only 2 minutes left to work with.
Oh yeah, and look at that Pathfinder. He did just get one shot off, but it wasn't one that finished off a tank, and I feel as though that's what they really needed right now, Meltdown, because they're potentially just about to lose Mr. Batchat as well.
Yeah, Vicetone getting low on HP. Pathfinder has reloaded. Polly does have enough HP to actually peak the Grill 15 and survive, but still the Warriors here, Caren Tiger, do not have a huge amount of HP to work with. Nadeko and Hellcry should be able to clean up Pathfinder before he gets the reload across, and that is going to be huge. And yeah, again, look at that HP. Meltdown, the focus fire just hasn't been there. Vicetone should survive. Maro doesn't have the gun depression to get the kill, and now a couple of kills go the way of Meltdown. This one might not yet be over, Alex. Maro needs to get a lot of work done here from the hill, but he's just not getting the shots that he needs. Hellcry does take down Vicetone.
Oh, that was a very unlucky miss there from Momo, but look, right now, Meltdown, they actually have more total HP than Caren Tiger, but with those two tanks left, Rush on the reload and Momo in a mouse, I do not think this is going to be working for
Yupa can afford to take a hit from the mouse here, but he needs to trade something back. That's not when you need to take the hit. He wasn't ready to be firing, so he needed to probably just save his HP, and 40 seconds left on the clock. Are they going to have enough damage to deal with these mouse? Are the reloads going to be there in time for Caren Tiger? It's really getting down to the wire here, Alex. I'm not sure if Caren Tiger maybe have left this one a little bit too late. AQV and the Skoda goes down. That's probably not the choice target. You would have rather taken down a TVP or the Bat Chat. But 20 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
And Rush in a Bat Chat. He can maybe get away here. Hellcry and Maro doing the chasing, but Polly and Yupa are having a real trouble dealing with the mouse. 10 seconds left. Hellcry and Polly aren't going to get in there. Well, Hellcry and Maro aren't going to get in there in time. It's down to Polly. They can't. They can't. They haven't got the time, I don't think.
Well, look, it's a TVP 3. No, they haven't. That's it. Oh.
That's, yeah, look.
Oh, my goodness.
It's been really sloppy play tonight from both of these teams in some points.
A bit dodgy. That was hard to come that far and lose it for 3 seconds.
I don't know. Like, the email peaking when he didn't need to, taking a free shot, that was kind of a big deal. And the aggro juggling from Caren Tiger at the end there near that mouse was just awful.
Yeah.
It was awful.
That was dodgy. I mean, it's a mouse. Like, it takes so long to turn its turret. They had it permanently spotted. You know, you can poke up. Mouse has to turn its turret. Other one pokes up. Shoots once. Mouse turns its turret. You know, there's ways to do that Caren Tiger just didn't. And
it seemed like they were all scared that they were going to take the shot.
Yeah,
and, at the end of the day, someone kind of just needed to go in there and be the one to take the shot. If they had all three gone at once, they probably would have been able to take him down, but they kind of peaked one by one, and, well, that's not too great of a situation for them, obviously, as we saw how it went. But, well, Meltdown hanging on for dear life here. 4-3 now. Are we looking for Caren tiebreaker here? One round is all that Meltdown need to pull it through to the 5-4.
Oh, well, let's hold that thought, Jordan, and take a look at some of the best plays from that last
Best or worst?
Best
what are we going to see?
I'm not too sure. That was an interesting one, pushing Pink Pig up there.
Yeah, they didn't push him enough, though.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, they tried. The important thing is they tried. They get a
I want to see what happened
medal.
with that mouse at the end. I hope that's in the replays, because I think that was... I want to see, you know, what Caren Tiger was doing, how they went about that, and what went wrong for them, really.
Yeah, for sure. So, and again, the emails that they picked. But yeah, look here, great aggro juggling there from Caren Tiger, and I feel as though maybe Caren Tiger just ignored the mouse for a little bit too long, because it was just left on full HP right up until the end. And I think that was the other issue with Polly, why he was struggling in that, because he didn't actually have his ammo repaired. He had his ammo rack damaged, so wasn't a great idea for him. But Momo 7 and that mouse ended up dealing top damage for Meltdown with 2.4k.
Yeah, well, 2.4 in mouse, it's pretty good.
Respectable.
Can't complain about that one for Momo. And, well, Meltdown aren't going to be complaining too much about that one, though. They didn't really deserve to win that round, it felt.
Yeah,
you know,
I
kind of got
agree
gifted
with
to
you.
them by Caren Tiger.
Yeah, Caren Tiger, look, they took a long time to set up there. Yeah, it's hard to say when there's only 5 seconds in it, but... And even falling that T49, at least he got one shot off. But yeah, Mr. Bat Chat, Vicetone, that's when you know that Meltdown didn't deserve to win that win. Vicetone's 13th on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, like a couple of these rounds actually so far throughout this series have been what I felt like mistakes from Caren Tiger as opposed to really good plays from Meltdown. So this one is it's almost needlessly closer than it should be. Like this could have been a 5-1 for Caren Tiger.
Would have been.
They bounced a lot of shells on that Muravanka one, or missed a lot of shells on that Muravanka game. And again, there that game on Mines, if they had have pulled the trigger 30 seconds earlier, they would have had enough time to work with. You know, maybe if Maro had have hit a couple more shots from up on the hill, if he had have focused on the mouse instead of the bat chat that he was trying to hit where he couldn't get the gun depression, if he had just taken the easy shots into the mouse.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things which you can think about and be like, oh, well, they could have done this, they should have done that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they just didn't do it, and they haven't got the job done. And now we find ourselves with a Meltdown on 3 rounds and potentially being able to pull it through to 4 here if they get off to a good start on the second half of Mines.
Yeah, it was silly mistakes there, I think, from Caren Tiger. Yep. I mean, yeah, simple as that. Remember, I made silly mistakes in a Year 9 science test, and that's what my teacher said to me. You know, look, you're good at science, but you made some silly mistakes here. At the end of the day, Jordan, I didn't get a better result on that test because I made some silly mistakes. I got penalised for it, and that's what Caren Tiger are being penalised for.
It's getting late, isn't it? It's really getting late when Alex starts talking about his Year 9 science class.
I mean, I'm just saying that, like, it doesn't matter why Caren Tiger are you know, losing some of these battles. The fact is that they're losing them, and that it's their fault that it's as close as it is.
Really, a bit of a stretch there, Alex, I gotta say. Yeah. Anyway, I hope we get into this second round soon because I don't really want to listen to you talking or waffling on about random stuff anymore.
Oh, you're in a bit of trouble, then. I'm afraid, Jordan. Okay, it is what I do.
What have you got for me now, Alex? What have you got next?
No. You have to wait. Just, you know, we're not quite onto the last course yet. We're you know, we've just finished the main course. Maybe it's time for a little palate cleanser before we head into this last potential battle here between Meltdown and Caren Tiger. So
I'm just scratching my head. I don't know what to say to you, Alex.
Thanks.
My entire flow is gone, and thankfully I've been blessed by the words in my ears that the tank lineups are ready. So let's get right into them. Have a look and see what's coming out here. Meltdown, couple of TVPs, lots of bad chats. This looks like a lineup that wants to contest the hill. Caren Tiger also could potentially go for it, though the Grill 15 maybe doesn't lend itself towards that.
Yeah, that is correct, I believe. I do like the TVP on the side of Caren Tiger, though. And the Grill 15 on the defensive side, very, again, cookie cutter from both of these teams. And
both teams both fighting the hill. Caren Tiger with a couple of Batchat APs. I think that Meltdown might actually have the tank advantage in here. Polly's done well to actually take down Vicetone there, though. So that's not too bad. 1 for 1 at the moment. Caren Tiger surely will lose Polly here. Pink Pig's got a full clip loaded, and he's going to come around here. But look at this. Akio and Maro coming from behind. Cry in the TVP gets absolutely demolished. Pink Pig trades one out, though. It's 2 for 1. In the favor of, actually it's 2 for 2 at the moment. Caren Tiger do have the health advantage though. Meltdown
big advantage.
Really struggling in this one. They're losing tanks across the board, and this might be enough for Caren Tiger to close things out here. I don't think Meltdown are going to be able to come back from a 3v5.
Yeah, look, I think after that last battle there, Jordan, Caren Tiger just said, okay, look, we are not doing that again. Yep. We're not drawing it out to an 11-minute almost battle, and they've just pulled the trigger here onto Meltdown. Meltdown, they still have 2 tanks remaining, but Caren Tiger with 4 on the field, they've got a TVP, a Batchat, and a 113. They should be able to close it out.
Absolutely. TVP and the Batchat, Pink Pig and Pathfinder. Nowhere near enough damage, I suppose, to deal with this remaining health pool for Caren Tiger. They'll get rushed down once that Batchat Amaro comes off the reload. Once the Akio V comes off the reload, even Hellcry is keen to get in there beforehand, get a little bit of extra damage for himself, and really just pad those stats, but that's all that it is at this point now. Caren Tiger well and truly coming away with the victory here against Meltdown. Maybe a little bit later than they potentially could have, but at least they were able to get a good win in the end there on the last round.
A very good win, and if I recall, I said 5-4, so I'm not that close. But anyways, close enough. Yeah, that was how Caren Tiger should have done that first half of Mines, I reckon. Just rush the hill with proper medium tanks and close it out like that. But at the end of the day, Caren Tiger won. They didn't draw it to a tiebreak. They've got the full 3 points, and we still haven't seen a tiebreaker.
Haven't seen a Caren tiebreaker just yet. Not yet.
APAC WGL
No, not at all. Not at all. No teams have managed to pull it through to a tiebreaker there. So, It was a bit of a shaky performance though from Caren Tiger. I got to say, it
Yeah,
wasn't impressive.
Yeah, but like I feel as though the first maybe 1 or 2 matches early on when we did see them on Ruinberg, you know, some good plays there.
Yeah.
Some quite impressive stuff. Then it did drop off a little bit, and I'm not too sure whether it's kind of maybe getting late for them, or you know, they've had a big day, or the battles are just dragging on a little bit for them. But overall, you're right. It wasn't super impressive, but at the end of the day, they've pulled through. You know, they've beaten out Meltdown, who are a fairly strong contender nonetheless. Look, that Meltdown, I'm not too sure if Meltdown just didn't play their best day, or if this is the new Meltdown that played today, you know?
Yeah, like we talk about how Caren Tiger wasn't that impressive, really, but Meltdown themselves were not impressive at all either.
No, exactly.
So it wasn't really the caliber of match that we sort of thought it was going to be. We thought this was going to be a really very closely fought match with good plays, but there was a lot of mistakes coming out from both of those teams. Let's have a look at the post-battle stats for Mines, or the second half of Mines. And really, it was just the Bat Chats doing the work on the hill there. But Pink Pig, he did a good job to get the kill early on to Vicetone, but really wasn't able to follow it up with much in the end.
Yeah, there we go. And well, shout out to Nadeko in that Grilla for 2.3 thousand damage in that one. Pretty fair effort. Hellcry in the 113 dealing 2.1k as well, which is nothing to sneeze at. And we've been seeing a little bit of rush tonight up on the scoreboard there.
Vicetone didn't even get a shot across.
Oh, Mr. Batchat, what are you doing,
he got eliminated straight off the battlefield. Momo and the WZ also not getting any damage across. So that's really, I think, the difference between the two sides.
Yep.
You know, it's what separated Caren Tiger from Meltdown, and just the damage wasn't there for Meltdown in that initial brawl, and Caren Tiger took advantage of it, obviously.
Yes, I guess so there. So Caren Tiger, look, they are going to be happy at the end of that for, you know, taking out the win, taking out the 3 points, and
they got
securing
the points
their
on the board.
spot. Yeah, near the top of the ladder, I think they're either equal to EL.
Horsemen will be above them, because they've got a 3-0,
right.
and Caren Tiger have a 3-1.
Yeah.
EL have a 3-0, so they'll be on the top as well. So I think Horsemen and Horsemen and EL, 1 and 2, or 1, I suppose. And then we've got Caren Tiger below that, and Team Efficiency will be 2-0.
Yeah.
So they'd be even above Meltdown now, who are 2-2. So a lot of changes coming up early on.
Absolutely.
Well, now it's, I guess, 2/3 of the way through this week. But tomorrow is going to be another one where we're going to have to look and see. I guess it's going to be interesting to see how the standings are looking at the end of week 2, because I think it's going to be a little bit different to the end of week 1.
A little bit. Just a little bit, I think. Yeah, no, definitely got to agree with you there. I think, Jordan, and, well, now it is the end of Saturday, I guess, now that Caren Tiger have taken out that win there against Meltdown. And, I mean, are you surprised by Meltdown's performance in that?
Very. I am actually very surprised by that. I thought they were going to come out. Like I said, I thought they were going to win 5-3. In the end, it was Caren Tiger that won 5-3.
Yep.
And, you know, I would have been content with, like, Meltdown going down 5-3 if they had have won 3 rounds, rather than Caren Tiger giving away 3 rounds. I think you can say Meltdown won the second half of Muravanka.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it felt like Caren Tiger gave them the other 2 rounds.
Yep,
almost.
I'd agree with that, 100%.
So, yeah, I'm not really happy with how Meltdown played at all tonight. I hope they're going to come out tomorrow with a better performance than that. I hope Caren Tiger's going to come out with a better performance as well, because they just didn't seem all, 100% there.
Well, there's only one way to find out. That is by tuning in tomorrow, of course, to all of our excellent matches then. And, of course, guys, tomorrow we do have a few fun quests in store for everyone on the stream, and some goodies that you can win on those as well. But, look, I think today we've had some really excellent tanking to end it off, or really entertaining tanking. That match was actually very fun to watch, in my opinion. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. You know, it was going right down to the wire. You know, the 1v1 on Himmelsdorf there that we saw was absolutely insane.
I mean, I felt like the B Gaming Team Efficiency match was more enjoyable to watch. I felt like the Dark Wolves Horseman match was more enjoyable to watch, because it was good plays as opposed to just really sloppy things coming out. I don't know, maybe we have a different opinion on things, obviously, but to me, I'd rather watch a good match as opposed to a close match, but lots of errors, I suppose.
Yeah, well, anyways, each to their own, I guess, but hopefully everyone watching the stream today has enjoyed themselves with a little bit of a new caster rotation that we're chucking in here, which I think, make sure that we're all fresh for every game. It's pretty nice.
It's nice. It's good for me. It helps me stay a little bit more focused. But Let's have a look at the post-battle stats there for Meltdown, Caren, Tiger, and I'm sure it's going to look... Oh, well, I was wrong. That's a lot more Meltdown guys up towards the top than I would have thought.